So, hello, we are back out in the woods again. I have more of an idea of where I am this time, which is always good. But I thought we would go for a little walk through I guess these are considered more managed woods. Because if you look at them, you can see, especially when you look this way, that this forest was definitely planted in stick-straight rows. And well, I was going to say every few years, but it's more or less every few decades, they come along and they harvest some of it. Forestry is an interesting occupation because if you think about it, what you plant probably won't be cut down, maybe not even in your lifetime, depending on the tree. I'm not sure how fast pine trees grow. I feel like it's got to be pretty quick, but it's nice. I guess the hunters probably like it because it makes nice sight lines. Oh my goodness. Okay, so not hunting, but as I was walking earlier, I had an encounter. Oh, that's a cool looking bug. I think it's gone. Where did you go, bug? I had an encounter with something I think I've only seen once or twice. I hear them periodically, but you almost never see them, and especially not in the day. I think because it's so cloudy today. Maybe it was dark enough, or maybe just because I was out in the middle of nowhere enough that I was able to see it. But unfortunately, like everything else, it made me deeply regret that we aren't born with cameras that have zoom features in our eyeballs. That would be really inconvenient at times, but also really nice because I saw an owl. I just happened to glance up because you don't hear them, that's for sure. But I glanced up and I saw something that at first I thought was a hawk, big and brown. And then it landed in a tree and I was able to see its little horns, the little ear tufts. And then I got a little bit closer and it flew from the tree that it was perched in to another close by tree. So I eased my hand into my pocket, got out my camera, and it flew off. And I was like, dang it. Why do none of the animals that I tend to see want to have their pictures taken? So that gets chalked up to yet another encounter with an animal that just has to be preserved in my oh so faulty human memory. Which means I'll probably remember it for a long time, but never long enough. And no photographic evidence, which makes me sad. So, according to one of my neighbors, I think that what I always called crunchy moss is actually some sort of reindeer lichen, which I have to laugh at because I don't think there are reindeer native to the Upper Peninsula. I know that they do have a caribou herd that they imported in the Lower Peninsula, but if they were ever native in the Upper Peninsula, it was probably long before any of the Europeans got here. I do like the woods. It's very quiet today. I don't even hear birds. Oh, there was a bird. So I'm not totally crazy. I did check the weather and the radar before I headed out because even though I'm not actually made of sugar or more likely salt, I'm not real big on getting rained on. But I am real big on just getting out and exploring. Especially for the next couple weeks. Because pretty soon it's going to be deer season. And I think bear season, but I don't worry as much about that because I don't think as many people are out hunting bear. And even though I do have a little bit of bright orange clothing, I don't feel real secure walking the more backwoodsy roads like these when there are people out in the woods with guns. You know, I'm sure that if someone thought I was a deer and accidentally got me, I don't think I'd look all that good mounted on somebody's wall, and I would feel really sorry for somebody. I don't think I would probably be as good at Hastings venison either, so best not to tempt fate. So in deer season, I wear my bright orange, but I stay out of this type of walk. I do like to think that people wouldn't actually shoot first and ask questions later. But I also don't trust humans all that much. I'm always tempted to gather up some of these jack pine cones and toss them into a fire just to see if they open. Because supposedly that is like the only way that those pine cones open. They're kind of cool looking though. I mean, this one looks like it's opened. So maybe that's not actually the case. Maybe it just takes a really long time for them to open. I should probably look more into that. The issue is I always forget what I say I'm going to look up by the time I get home. I would say it's the curse of getting older, except I've kind of always been like this. I also really like these galls on the tree. Sometimes you find fallen bits of tree trunk that have really big burls on them. And some people who are much more skilled at woodworking than me turn them into beautiful, like decorative bowls and vases and things like that. They're not only on the pine trees. I've seen burls on birch especially. That's kind of cool. Yet more blueberries. They're all done now. The huckleberries are actually in season right now. I haven't decided if I'm going to actually pick any of them though. If I see some, I will point them out to you. Not gonna lie, I'm like halfway hoping that some bit of wildlife comes dashing out. I mean, there's a bumblebee. Hello, bumblebee. Oh, and he's gone. But unfortunately, you can't just get wildlife on demand. Too bad. You ever wonder how the people that do the documentaries actually do it? I kind of think they either put out food as a bait, or they're literally just sitting out in the woods for like weeks in one spot, just desperately hoping. Because I see wildlife decently often, but I very rarely get it on film, because usually I'm not filming. And by the time you whip your camera out, it's gone. This is a very pretty walk, though. I like walking on the back roads because it's much kinder on the feet, the sand or the dirt. I did a little bit of walking out on the paved road, and I just don't like that nearly as much. It hurts more. And where's the fun in that? I suppose I could just get better insoles. Or I could just walk on dirt roads. The only thing I don't like is when I hit gravel roads, because gravel hurts. Again, I could probably just get insoles. I always wonder what happened to the dead trees. You gotta wonder, was there some sort of blight or what? Because they're all different sizes, so I don't think that they reached their end of life cycle. But they're just kind of dead. They do make cool skeletons, and every now and then you happen to see a hawk perched on them. Usually you just see a crow or a raven up on them, which is also cool. Oh, hey, I do know where I am. Very cool. Now I know where this road goes. So this spot is actually really funny. It's a crossroads that, thanks to ATV riders, it's kind of impassable at this point for a regular car. I know this because a couple years ago I was out walking. Oh, look at those footprints. I wonder what you are. You have little fat feet. But I was out here a couple years ago walking, and there was a person who was stuck in the sand. They were not only not on an ATV, they were trying to go that way in like a T-bird. It didn't work. 100% did not work. They were very, 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 very stuck. And they didn't really know where they were. So I was like, well, I can't actually help you get your car out, but I can at least get you to, and I named the two closest local lakes that had people on them. And then they asked if I knew how to get to the lake that has the dispersed campsites that I've taken you to a few times. I was like, oh yeah, you're actually really close to that. So I walked them to the road that heads to the campsites. And they actually knew their way from there, so they could actually go get their relatives who were staying in that camp and hopefully get their car out. I mean, obviously it did, because there's not a car still stuck there years later. That would be an interesting thing. Okay, deer. I was like, what kind of tracks are those? Just deer. It's always fun. You know it's a pretty big deer when the like little spikies are in the back. That's kind of cool. And the other little footprints of the whatever it was are still on the road too. That's the way I usually encounter wildlife. Well, now that I know where I am, and I've been babbling a very long time, I guess I am going to let you guys go, and I'm going to continue my walk and get home and hope that World of Warcraft's dumb maintenance is done. I know that when there's a new expansion, you have to expect a lot of instability, but dang it, there has been maintenance every day this week, which makes me a little bit sad because I've been having fun with the new expansion. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Please do hit the like button if you don't mind, and I will see you next time.